I'm going to begin by asking just about how the collaboration between Excel and Amazon Prime sort of first came together.
We pretty much started our journey together. Our first original, Inside Edge, was produced by Excel, and thereafter Mirzapur, our biggest show, Made in Heaven, The Hard recently, and now super excited about this. I think it is the shared vision of telling great stories that are rooted, providing a platform to new emerging voices, and they're just incredible collaborators.
Farhan, of course, I mean, you're such a force in front of the screen, but what makes you decide what projects you're going to sort of take a step back and produce and work behind the lens, and which you're going to kind of be, and how early does that decision come?
No, pretty early on. It's when hearing a story, there's a director, there's a creator, and there, I don't know, there's a visual that starts forming. It's like reading a book. You know, visuals start forming in your head, and you, as a producer, first start thinking about who do you think will be right to play these parts. It has happened, of course, in the past where I've heard a script and I've been like, dude, I would love to play this, and I've done it. But at times, it just feels like certain actors are right for those parts. There's a certain age that the character of Dara needs to be, you know, and similarly with all the other characters. So I have to keep my producer's hat on. I can't start getting selfish about everything else. You know, I have to like think about my time. But coming back to your first question, I think it's really important for Excel that we've had a partner who has, and a shared creative synergy with the work that we've done. I remember when we had Inside Edge, the first show that Amazon and us did together, we had the script for it, we had a show Bible for it, and we had nothing to do with it. You know, because there was nothing that nobody we could take it to, because there were no shows being produced out of India at that time. And it just so happened that we fortunately met, and Amazon was looking to do their first show, and we were really excited to get this going. And the belief that they had in that show and the way they backed Excel making that show, that has, I won't say remained the same, it's exponentially grown with time. You know, so it's always comfortable and it's always a happy place to be working together.
I was going to ask about the role, your role in this, and just the kind of complexity, getting your head around the complexity of this character. You're sort of renowned for taking on quite complex roles, and this feels like quite aligned to that. But was it a challenge at all for you?
I don't know. But this was really challenging because this is different from all the work that I've done before. In that sense, this was you know, I've tried something new here. Just being a part of this show, this epic saga that we're calling it, epic saga of Bombay, my beloved, was just absolutely amazing, and I wanted to be a part of it in whatever capacity. So luckily for me, this part also happens to be like one of the strongest parts. It's also a female part that has an active role in the you know, in the world of crime, who's not just facing the consequence of other people's actions, but also has like ambition and actions of her own, and that made it very interesting for me.
I'm pleased you called it Bombay, my beloved, because I was worried I was going to have to call it by the original title. No, it's good, because I don't fancy myself saying that. But I was going to, what do you think makes the post-independence kind of setting in Bombay perfect for this story to unfold?
Well, I think that the city plays such an important role in this show. And there are so many viewers, I think, today who really don't know the genesis of organized crime. Because I think it's a symbiotic relationship. As the city started growing and sprawling out, crime started, you know, emerging, fiefdoms, territories. There were turf wars. It's good to have a show of this ambition that can actually chronicle it, you know. And post-independence, you move through various layers of also, I think, wealth or the lack of it. Certain restrictions by government forces, like you know, on gold and electronic goods, which were, I mean, I don't know how many young viewers, you know, would know this, and so I think the show is a great way to, you know, expose them to this.
I was going to go back to talk about kind of streaming. And do you think it's been quite good for kind of Indian TV and kind of films and stuff? Because a few years ago, it would have been really hard to see programs like this. You would have really had to try and seek them out. But there's now a kind of an accessibility that comes with all the different streaming platforms now buying and putting on kind of products from all around the world. Do you think that streaming has been a bit of a saviour in some way to global content?
I'm really glad that you know, that we can provide viewers a really wide variety of content, not just from India, but across the world. There is something for everyone. The most interesting thing is that people have started discovering content from different regions in different languages, and that's really beautiful. The fact that we localize our content in multiple languages, it's being watched by viewers across the world. People in Italy are as big fans of Made in Heaven as they are in India. It's just really, really heartwarming.
This is coming from a sort of an outside perspective, but is this quite an exciting time for the kind of Indian film and TV kind of industry?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's the reach that you're getting through streaming to audiences that your film, if it just, it would normally not reach. And I think it's not just your work that does it for you, it's the collective work of the industry that does it. Somebody else's show, when that works, it benefits what we are doing. When our show works, it benefits somebody else who's about to make their show and release it, because more and more people are getting interested in what's coming out of your country, in what's coming out of your industry, and your audience as a base is growing, and that's what any creative person wants. They want more people to watch their work, and that's something that's happening and it is growing, so that's amazing.
And the other interesting thing is that it's not just about a week or a month after the show's launched. Like, people can keep discovering it and rediscovering it, and that's really amazing.
Yeah, I'm still watching Triple R still. But I was going to ask too, in terms of research, because obviously this show kind of goes behind the curtain of kind of society, kind of dips into the shadow, the criminal underbelly. Can you talk about trying to sort of were you able to do much research for this, or was it quite tricky because generally crime, the kind of organised crime, is quite secretive?
Is this question for me? Oh, so Rensil did most of the research actually. He did all the research, and the show is beautifully written. It was all the research, all the work was already done. So I think he'd be the right person to take this question actually.
Did you mean with respect to a character? Or
the character, but also just the overall world as well.
So I think the base of the show is provided by a crime journalist called Hussain Zaidi. And Hussain is known for his work, he's quite renowned for his work on gangland activities and, so I think a lot of the research and a lot of the base of it was provided by Hussain. There's a lot in the public domain, and personally, Shujat and I are big fans of crime and, the underworld. So I think these things are things we gravitate to naturally. We've been following it for quite a long period of our lives. But yes, the Bombay of the 50s, 60s and 70s no longer exist. So I think Shujat did a great job by actually putting together, building a set, and quite a voluminous set really, that housed, it was almost like a mini city. And the production design and detail that went into it was quite staggering.
That must be so much fun as an actor to step into a world like that.
Absolutely, because all this work, the detailing on paper and then the physical world around us was so good, was so well done, that for us we just had to be like in the moment and be truthful to that moment. And that makes life very easy for an actor.
Because it feels like, this show really sort of follows some of the familiar tropes of the kind of crime action sort of series, but it still feels quite unique. Can you talk about kind of making something that feels familiar, but also something that feels quite new and original at the same time?
I think, the mythology of crime in Mumbai is something that, and me being a Bombay boy, you grow up, it's in the air around you. These larger than life figures, we kind of know their stories almost like it's something that we just grew up with. And so, in fact, we constantly say, Shujat and I, that there is a period of films in the 70s that this harks back to, the constructs, the composites, the characters, their motivations. So yes, there is a familiarity with these kind of characters and their motivations, but the great thing is when you have 10 episodes, unlike a movie, the detailing you can do by bringing with the world building and showing people facets of that world that they've never seen possibly in movies because of A, time, or B, that you just could not, do the whole 9 yards in a movie, but you can, like in a 10-episode show.
Yeah, Farhan, is that a real kind of luxury now to have this sort of time to play? Because you've made a lot of films as well. Yeah. I guess you have that kind of 2-hour, 3-hour long.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. It's a completely different way of telling a story. Honestly speaking, should be able to, in a film, also provide a similar experience in terms of understanding the characters and understanding the story. But what a series does allow you, like Rensil rightly mentioned, is it allows you to really, really kind of focus in on nuance, which maybe you may not be able to do in a film, you know, like on nuance of characters, and just really dive deeper maybe into the dynamics of relationships, issues, conflicts, that it does allow you to understand people a lot more. But it's I would say if it's more challenging than doing a film, actually, you know, because the thing is that because you have time in your hand to play with, your responsibility to keep it interesting is also that much there's that much more of an onus on you to do that. So the writing plays a huge role in getting a series right.
I also feel like for the viewers, the kind of time that you end up spending with those characters, they pretty much come and inhabit your lives. You start caring about them. You know, they're a part of your life. So, yeah, writing is the key.
So my final question is: Will they be part of our lives for more time? Do you think? Could there be more to this in the future?
For now, we're really excited to put out season 1, which comes out on the 14th. It's, we believe, very, very immersive led, and yeah. For now, it's this, and of course, the story is very immersive. It has legs to go, you know, far beyond.
You're going to reach the end of the season soon.
Yeah. And then
We'll ask you what you feel.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time, so much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
You guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!